Welcome back to my special election series, Kamala Harris in her own words. Today we're going to cover Harris on immigration. She had been the border czar since almost the beginning of the Biden-Harris administration, and she hadn't been to the border yet. You can't make this shit up.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
For those of you who still might be undecided, let's get to know this candidate a little better. Here's Kamala Harris on immigration, in her own words.
We have a president of the United States who has created a fiction about a crisis at the border, and he has held up the United States government and its workers around his vanity project called a wall.
Hi, my name is Sally Hartman. I'm a volunteer with the Center for Worker Justice.
Okay.
I want to know, when you become president, would you be committing to close immigration detention centers?
Absolutely, on day one. On day one. And thank you for...
As an aside, I'll tell you, having done the work I've done, it is our undocumented immigrants that are the least likely to commit a crime. So let's get our notions together about what we're talking about. It is wrong to somehow suggest that an undocumented immigrant is a criminal. Being an undocumented immigrant is not a crime. I know what a crime looks like. An undocumented immigrant is not a criminal. 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 An undocumented immigrant is not a criminal, and we have to correct course in this conversation. We're not going to treat people who are undocumented and cross the border as criminals. That's correct.
What is your position on San Francisco as a sanctuary city?
I support our sanctuary law. And I also recognize that we got to a place that became highly publicized where we strayed from it. And so we needed to get back on track, pardon the overuse of that term, so that we would comply with the law that, in a way that recognizes we can support the sanctuary ordinance and also obey and follow federal law. Must be addressed.
The bill also says, quote, every individual who is a resident of the United States is entitled to benefits for health care services under this act. Not every individual who's a citizen, but every individual who's a resident. Mm-hmm. So you support giving universal health care, Medicare for all, to people who are in this country illegally?
Let me just be very clear about this. I am opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being from access to public safety, public education, or public health. Period.
You're confident this border's secure?
We have a secure border.
There you have it. There's a clear choice in this election. With Harris, you get virtually open borders. People are not vetted properly. And one of the sticking points for me, of course, on top of crime, is that immigrants are not encouraged to acclimate into our society. Oh, and if you've been waiting in line properly, she's in favor of amnesty for everyone who's already here. Folks, for many people, the immigration issue is complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Step one, secure the border. You've got to know who's coming into the country. Step two would be to establish a meritorious system so the majority of people coming in are skilled laborers. Not all, but the majority. Step three, you do need to set up a quota system so you limit the number of people coming in every year, not because you're trying to be discriminatory, but you don't want to overburden the public services and public institutions. And most importantly, if you want to thrive as a society, you have to set up an acclimation process. People coming here should want to be here. Not that they're just escaping from someplace else, but they actually want to become part of our culture. They should want to join the culture. And of course, they're bringing their own cultural attributes to add to our melting pot, but they want to join, not fundamentally fundamentally change our country. But of course, that's just my 2 cents. I'm not running for office. In conclusion, in this election cycle, you have a clear choice. The border under Trump was under control, and he favored a meritorious system. And his plan, once he retakes office, would be to deport the thousands of criminals that Harris let in. Her plan is virtually open borders, universal health care or amnesty, and let's not forget about the 300,000 children that have gone missing during her administration. Yeah, under Harris-Biden, human trafficking has expanded. You have a clear choice here. Open borders, higher crime, and expanded human trafficking. Or we go back to Trump, secure borders, less crime, and we try to eliminate human trafficking. Yeah, I think I want some of that. The choice is yours. Now go out and share this with everyone on your social media platforms, especially your family and friends who might still be undecided, and encourage them to vote. Well, that's it for me today. Please join the channel because it really helps the algorithm. Hit that like button, leave a comment, and share, share, share. Remember, everyone wakes up at their own pace, and you are not alone. It's our job to help and educate as many people as possible. God bless America, God bless this podcast, and God bless you. Stay frosty, my friends. Yeah, I think I want some of that.